to shoulder, quiet then command. One voice, one order, ready at the stand. Courage is a choice made in the morning light. When freedom needs a shield, we move toward the fight. From dream to duty, we step in line. Every heartbeat keeping time. For liberty we bear the weight, strong in the storm at the nation's gate. From dream to duty, we stand, we stay. Guarding the promise of the USA. Character forged in the marching rain. We hold the line, we hold the flame. Left, right, one fight, oath carried in our chest. Stand tall on that wall, give this land our very best. Service is the answer when the question's who will go. We raise our hand together so that freedom's colors show. From dream to duty, we step in line. Every heartbeat keeping time.
Morning, how are you?
Strong in the storm at the nation's gate.
So I got exciting news. There we go. Phone.
Dream to duty, we stand, we stay. Guarding the promise of the
engine humming, map wide open, two seats, one wild horizon. Rick and run with windows down, whole sky singing star right now. Let's go, let's go. Tuesdays used to feel so quiet, clock hands heavy, dreams on mute. Now we're chasing markers on the highway, every mile a brand new truth. From small town signs to mountain passes, laughing at the fear we had. Someday written on the dashboard, today's the only someday we'll ever have. Travel Tuesday, dreams in motion, turn it up, feel that forward ocean. Big sky, big heart, full speed devotion. We were born to roll. Travel Tuesday, wheels on fire, chasing visions, climbing higher. If it scares you, that desire, that's the road you own. Dream loud, let your freedom fly. Dream loud, let your freedom fly. Worn out sneakers on a roadside shoulder, stories tucked in carry-ons, trading comfort for the wide unknown, with a wave, not just a pond. Ask the night for one more answer, ask the dawn for one more try. Every risk another rewrite of the limits in our minds. Travel Tuesday, dreams in motion, turn it up, feel that forward ocean. Big sky, big heart, full speed devotion. We were born to
Hello, hello, hello.
Travel Tuesday.
Good morning. Oh, there we go. Can you hear me?
I can.
All right. So I got exciting news.
Ooh, awesome.
So we just got the progress reports for the kids in classes for their school. They have made adequate progress for all their goals.
Wow.
Huge. 2 years
That's
in
a
a
big
row,
deal.
we have made adequate progress each time with their goals.
Wow. That's awesome.
And I
That
even
is
called the
absolutely
school
awesome.
to make sure that they actually literally made the progress. And it wasn't just some fluffy and I'll make the kids feel better stuff.
Right.
Nope,
Wow.
they're making progress.
Isn't that awesome?
Oh, it's great. So, celebration this weekend at our house.
Woo, 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 woo. That is too cool. Hey, you know what? That is man, that is great news. That is so powerful news. You know, that just lets you know what you're doing is working.
Yes. And you're
It's
creating that
validation.
environment.
Hmm?
And you've created what you're doing, all the techniques are working, but it's also as a parent, you're doing a good job.
Right. Right.
Because, like it always goes through my head with the kids. I think every parent goes through this. Are you doing the right thing?
Yes. Yes.
Are you yelling enough? Are you yelling too much? Are you letting them get away with too much? Or trying to level that ground out?
Yeah, you really in that the proof is in the pudding, on what you're doing with your kids and how they kind of turn out at the different ages, age appropriate. you know. And there's no hiding what you're doing and whether it's working or not
No,
because your
I'm just,
kids are you extended.
that's the problem.
But you're doing a good job, even in the fact that they're you extended, you're seeing results.
Yes. They have developed mom's vocabulary of sarcasm.
It
And
lets
I
you
don't
know
know.
that you're not all bad.
Oh no, but it was so I don't know if I told you or not yet, but David has now learned how to swear without swearing. And so he will say things like holy ship really fast. Mom, I said ship, not the other word. I didn't say
Oh,
the
he
bad
knows the
word.
difference.
You heard me wrong.
So he knows the difference.
Oh, he knows. What we did, because yelling at him didn't work. I went old school. I did bar soap. You swore you had to lick the bar soap. And then he comes to me and goes, Mom, there's some days I just can't find a better word. And so he'll lick the bar soap, say the word. He's like, I'm getting punished. I'm gonna might as well get punished myself anyway.
Oh boy.
And I'm like, what do I do with you? How do I do anything with you? Because you just. So now he's figured out an alternative. Holy ship. Mom, the thing that floats.
Oh wow, he
And
knows.
it's even
Hey,
worse because
you
he
don't
brings
you
the
don't stand a
army into
chance.
it.
You don't
He
stand a
goes,
chance.
so yesterday we had this conversation about it, not using the words. And he goes, Mom, I know you don't know much about this because you're in the army, which means
Oh
you're on
my
the
gosh.
ground. But Grandpa Kane, ships, things in the water.
Oh my gosh.
I
You
lost
don't
it.
stand a chance.
No, so I gave up sarcasm for Lent. I'm a nicer person.
Oh, that's too funny. That is too funny.
Because I couldn't help but just laugh.
I don't know if you do this, but you need to keep a journal.
I do. I keep a very, because of the work I'm doing, we're actually doing a white paper study through the Mayo Health system about different alternative techniques. So everything I do every day, medicines, aspirin, everything is kept. It's going to be a book when they get older. And I'm waiting till they get older to write the book because I want them to have the final say what goes in it.
Well, I see, and it's probably the same, but I see what you're doing as like a use case, a
Hmm.
real world use case
Hmm.
that in documenting it, I'm believe this is my philosophy. This is my philosophy of teaching. Basically the rules that you're kind of going by based on your practice. And with every incident of, being able to observe a result, here is a result that warms my heart, those kinds of things in there.
Yeah.
And that
And
lets me know, huh?
I always share a bunch of stuff, but when I put everything out there in a few years, I always want them to have the final say. It's them. What do you want the world to know?
Right, right. And that's important. And I tell people because no one knows the story but us. And if we don't say anything, and a lot of times we've been taught not to say anything because it's almost like you're tooting your own horn or whatever.
Hmm.
And but that's not correct. If you don't tell the story, nobody knows, and everyone assumes. Like the experiences that you've grown through, that you've actually created, and the practice that you created through real world, situations, nobody would know the evolution of that and the pain, agony, lessons, and everything that was required to bring you to this point right now. And so they would assume that, this just came out of nowhere, you know, and that's not
Right?
true. But they don't know. They would assume that their experience that they went through, are just the same as yours, and and that you're not nothing different than who they are. They would assume that because they just don't know, how you became the person that you are, and those key milestones that made you, that directed you, that formed you, that forged, the person that you are. They don't know that, and unless you tell them. But we've been taught not to tell them. Why is that?
Because your private life is supposed to be your private life. We're the generation of no social media. It didn't exist. If you, and what
I
happened in
mean,
your home
beyond
stayed in your
beyond
home.
social media, just in general, because this was true before social media.
Well, and you got also, the military. What happens in your home, it always affected your way of life in the military. And people don't understand that as a soldier. You know, your kids do something and get in trouble, and the military finds out, you as a soldier gets punished because you can't
Right,
keep your house in order.
right.
And two, bragging is not something we like to be humble.
Well, I'm thinking more even beyond that. Grandparents, their grandparents, our family. It was kind of an unwritten thing that you don't talk about yourself.
No.
You don't tell about any of your accomplishments. You let other people do it. And I think what happened is that, simultaneously as you don't talk about yourself, others used to tell, different things that you did and pat you on the back. But at the same time, that changed too, where they don't talk about you. That there's an attitude or whatever that is where they don't celebrate you. And so you got these things converging together where, in the past, don't talk about yourself. It's let others talk about you instead of you talking about you. At the same time, things change where they don't talk about you either. So there's this big vacuum and big void that nobody knows the major accomplishments that you have actually done that impact on a global scale, global basis, and who knows? And I don't know. I mean, it's just it walks that line, of course, maybe of not being self promoting. But anymore, I think things have shifted that you have to be self promoting because everything is putting you down and not promoting you. and seeing some things that you're doing that are like amazing and not even saying anything about it. you know, and intentionally. And I was like, hey. And so unless you actually say, okay, this, I'm just talking in general, but specifically, this is my program. This is what I'm doing, and here's how it makes us different in implementing this program of neurodiversity, and even travel. We talk about travel on Tuesdays, and
You know,
hmm
and it's stories are getting lost. People aren't talking
there you
anymore.
go.
And that's where travel is so cool because you get to go and explore the unbeaten paths and hear the stories. I love traveling, just taking neighborhood trips or, local trips and going to these little truck stops or these little, you know, burger stops or things and hearing the stories.
That's it. Stories are getting lost. Stories are getting lost. History. You know what? Maybe it's because we don't. The whole storytelling of our history has gone by the wayside, or is that a good general statement or no?
It is, but it's also, we don't
I
talk
mean,
about
it's cultural
ourselves.
too,
You don't share the family heritage like we used to.
right?
Like, I'm thankful my grandma always taught us our family history, and we've kept all the stuff. So, like, she paid a somebody to actually track down our history from Ireland. So I have a full collective of scrolls. Literally, they're rolled out parchment scrolls.
Oh, that's right. You're Irish German.
I'm Irish and German, but we also didn't hold back. So, like during
I'm
World War
Irish and
II,
African American.
my grandma made sure we understood that we have
Hey, sister.
family.
Hey, sister.
That's
Top of the
where the
morning to you.
you want some haggis with that?
And I was born in Munich,
See,
Sprechen Sie Deutsch?
they're good.
Eins, zwei, drei, vier, fünf, sieben, acht, 19.
So ein bisschen.
Oh, Lord Jesus, don't get me going.
Sprechen Sie Deutsch ein bisschen or
Sprechen Sie Deutsch? Ein bisschen. Ein bisschen.
just a little bit?
Just a little bit. My sister couldn't speak English. We had a German babysitter, and my sister spoke German before she spoke English.
See, I was too. I learned to speak German the same as I learned to speak.
Really? With your grandma?
Yep. My
Wow.
great grandparents came over here. My grandmother's generation was the first generation born on our soil. My Her parents actually came over here when they were young and they didn't speak English.
Wow. Where'd they come? What city?
Over by Cologne.
No, I mean here in the States.
It's in Minnesota. It's We ended up over by Darwin, Litchfield area, Dassel. Small little farming community. And the funny part is my family still lives in the original farms, in the original houses that we settled in.
Really? Do they know you?
They do a little bit. We don't, because they're so far away, we don't talk too much with them.
Wow. But it is Minnesota?
It's Minnesota.
So your roots are in Minnesota.
My mom's side is Minnesota. My dad's side is Oklahoma.
Wow, Oklahoma.
Tulsa.
Tulsa. Whoa, man. History is just amazing. But yeah, getting back to what we were saying though, you have a lot of accomplishments, and like even people on this call that are listening have accomplishments that will be buried in history except for journaling
Mm-hmm.
and for future generations. And to be able to document, major milestones, not write a dissertation. And I have been journaling since 1981. constant, and since 1981, and so you can imagine the journals I have since 1981, and I'm and it's what 2026, and I have been journaling nonstop since 1981. A life worth living is a life worth journaling. Why? Because you're going somewhere and you're telling a story. Now that may be just me and how I think. I don't know. Sam Jacobs. That may be just me and how I think. But I believe in journaling.
Well, then when your kids, when you're gone, your kids will have that knowledge to be able to pass down to their kids and, keep going.
How much do we forget of what we do? Or I should say, how much do we really remember of the
Ambition,
huh?
ambition, a little bit.
Oh. And so it's interesting when I joined when I joined the travel business back in 2004. I made a note in my journal about that, and being able, so it's to go back to my journal in 2004 and to see and to read the comments that I had, joining the travel business and discovering travel basically in 2004, April 2004, and then working a corporate job and saying, okay, man, and but loving the community. And I went to a leadership program in the community where you become a community trustee. They teach you about all the different aspects of the community, and it's how they grow their own leaders within the community. And attending that program opened my eyes to the community. And a lot of people don't see the actual nonprofit community with where they live because they're in the workaday world. And you have this entire world of nonprofit that is coexisting, with everybody else, and nobody sees them. They don't see the homeless person on the street. They don't see. They're invisible because people are all about their business. So anyhow, so I go to this program and it opens my eyes up to the community, and I start longing for that world over the corporate world. And in 2005, I made a decision, to leave the corporate world and to immerse myself into the community. And I needed a tool that would create wealth. Little did I know the travel business was that tool. I'm thinking, hey, travel, save money, have fun. But when I actually put myself in a situation where I had to, create wealth or get an income, keep Brenda happy, mama ain't happy, ain't nobody happy. The travel business began to explode while I was in the community. And interestingly enough, it was a tool that other people needed. And so while I'm in the community serving on boards and commissions and really fulfilling my purpose and all those wonderful things that you do in the community, the business starts exploding and creates this wealth that follows me to the community and creates a pipeline going into the community of wealth. And I discovered something that tools can transfer wealth. I'm getting an echo. The
I'm
tools.
sorry, Rick.
Oh,
Um,
hey, Ron.
yeah, I'm
Tools,
listening in. I'm just
tools can transfer wealth that can free you up to walk in your purpose on purpose. And I documented that in my journal. And so you can imagine going back and reading that. And I'm like, this is good stuff. That guy back there has some courage to leave the job, dive in the community, and use the tool travel to sustain, staying in the community, not knowing that that would be the jump off to create wealth versus, and I love how Ron talks about a job, where it just keeps you in one position and you don't go out of it. It keeps you in a box. And how the pilgrims came not looking for a job, but an opportunity. And so, me going into the community, I discovered an opportunity. And, it broke me free from the chains of the corporate job, of a job, just over broke, journey on the way to brokenness, just over, you make just enough to pay your bills. The boss makes you jump out of bed, job.
Rick, you brought up a good point when you first started. You made a conscious decision to get involved. You can't just wait for it to happen to you. Things just don't fall out of the air or space, and things just happen to fly. You got to make the conscious effort to create steps to get involved in something, anything, and go with it from there.
That's scary. I remember early mornings, kids asleep, and I'm there. It's like, okay, you know, ready to make that move, but afraid, not knowing the result, leaving the shore to walk on the water, getting out of the boat to walk on the water. And that's not easy. I'm like, you know what? I was like, why sit we here till we die? I mean, we'll shrivel up, nobody will know. Let's go into the city, see what's there. But that's not easy. That requires a level of
Faith.
faith. Yeah, yeah, faith. And where I was I didn't want to stay. And the thing to not stay overrode the comfort of staying because it wasn't comfortable. It's like, okay, this is not good. I could sit here and we'll shrivel up in this house, and the whole family, perishes, and nobody leaves the house, and you find us years later. Or I can say, let's go make this happen. And you're right, level of faith. And but that making that decision to not sit there, knowing that if I don't do anything, nothing happens. Nobody cares like that. They don't even know. And I've got to be the one to make the first contact. I've got to be the one to go and go get the food, go hunting, bring back the deer, bring back the beast. And if I don't do that, see, that's what a lot of people are under pressure. I don't want to say just men anymore, but in that sense, men back then, as the person that takes care of the home, goes out there and in that time makes the living, and the family depends on them. And those are major pressures. Those are major pressures. And, a lot of people can't handle those pressures. And so you can, like we were talking this morning about veterans, even. And, the veterans that can't handle that kind of pressure of having to sustain their family, but not having the resources, and while dealing with PTSD and all of these issues, and the pressures that come with that, living in a world that really says they care, but they don't care.
Talk is cheap.
Because hmm,
Talk is cheap.
talk is they're falling through the cracks.
They are. And
Now, what
my
is the
question is,
responsibility of the world to care like that?
it's more of don't pull us out. for election years and make us your shiny object. Don't prey on us. So many organizations will say, oh, we're raising money for awareness. Great. Now, where's that money go? It goes to fill your pockets to make your non for profit a multi-million-dollar industry, but you're really not doing anything to help us. There's so many, very few organizations that are really helping us, but most of them are doing it. And that's why I really hate the term a lot of the time, the veterans, because it's a derogatory. I look at it a lot of times a derogatory term because we are the shiny poster children to raise money.
Is there a
We're
better
brought
term?
up, there isn't, but and a lot of us fall in that crack. It's the organizations that, while we're got some training, so we're going to help you and do more damage than good because you really don't understand where we're coming from. Or you've got the ones that raise money, and I love watching Facebook, and these people or civilians are, let's do a rucksack march to raise money for veteran suicide. Great. I guarantee you you're a civilian, because 90% of us are, unless we're in active duty and we're needing to stay that way, we are not going to do a rucksack march for fun. We are not doing miles of marching with a backpack with weights in it for fun.
Uh, and so I documented leaving corporate America, going into the community to and discovering that you don't go into the community to seek your fortune. You go into the community to fulfill your purpose. How do I know that? So I go into the community to seek my fortune, and the community wagons all circle and don't let me in. I'm like, what? What's going on? And then after I realize I can't get in, I shift to I'm here to serve. And the wagons open. And I begin to serve and fulfill my purpose and that whole self-fulfillment kind of feeling. And then I realized that the community is a place to serve, not to make money. Now, excuse me, I had the tool travel that I didn't know was something to make money. So, but I'm in the community serving, excuse me, and I give the tool travel to somebody who wants the tool to make money, who's not in the community. They take the tool travel, and it has relevance in this society to have fun, to make money, to do any and everything that needs to be done in this society. The guy takes the tool, begins to make a tremendous amount of money because of the compensation plan. I'm able to override, because I gave him the tool and I trained him. So now I create this residual income that now comes to me while I'm in the community that keeps Brenda happy.
Happy
And makes
wife, happy life.
happy wife, happy life. That makes thousands, hundreds of $1,000s, and later $1 million while I'm in the community passing on my tool that I have that has relevance to create wealth in this society at $11.1 trillion as an industry. Travel is the largest industry on the planet. But tools that allow us to tap into the wealth of that industry to sustain us in our purpose. So now we're happy, because we're in our purpose. And now mom's happy because we got money. People don't understand that. And so I documented that in my journal as a process, as a step of faith, and documented from the point of fear. Should I not? What happens if I do? What happens if I don't? Documented Well, why sit here till we die? What do we have to lose? Let's just do it. Document it as a process. Document it as a lesson, as a testimony for my children's children's children. Do not be afraid. Do it afraid, even if you are. And watch what happens. When you do it afraid, just like the movie Raiders of the Lost Ark, where he goes to the cavern and he doesn't see anything, but he's got to take a step of faith. And, danger's coming behind him. He's got to drop off to the abyss. And it's like, okay, what do I do? And finally, he takes a step into the abyss, and then a stair appears. A step appears. A little place where he can put his foot. And he goes, whoa. And then he takes another step, and another thing appears. And he's able to walk across. That's what it's like. That's what it's like. You're not going to see the step, but step anyway. If I perish, let me perish. And you'll find that you will survive. How do I know? Because you've got something deep inside of you that won't come out until you take the step. But when you take the step, that thing, that survival, and I can believe that it's something primitive. That's why your family is still here. You know, your grandparents had it, your great grandparents had it, your great 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 great, and it's something that is why that's why we're here because our family had it and they passed it on down to us. That courage. To go west, young man, young lady. know, that thing. And so, but anyhow, that is what you document. Since you're right, we don't tell stories anymore, family stories. Who is here to tell the family story, or does it die on the vine? Does it shrivel up and die on the vine with our generation if we don't tell the story? And that's something.
And that's the scary part. And like autopsy put in the chat, historical accuracy. You know,
Mm.
that's a huge one. What happens in history is based on the victor. And as things go through, people pass away, the story keeps getting rewritten. A good one is look at Napoleon. Just the size of him is different in real life compared to what we say he was.
And what was that?
He's actually shorter in real life than what description said he was.
Yeah, he was like a midget.
Yeah.
he had the short man syndrome.
Yes, it's look at all of our histories, all of our battles, all of our stuff. It's like the big contested. Did concentration camps really are they as bad as we say they are during World War II? Did it
I don't
really
know.
happen? As
I,
people
li-
pass away, the survivor stories are going to disappear.
I like how Ron talks about Anne Frank and those experiences over, going to the Anne Frank Museum, but it being so crowded with the lines backed up of people who want to hear the story and know the story and experience and actually be there and see how cramped those quarters were, where they were hidden, from the Germans at the time, World War II. But to walk through that same space that somebody lived, going through that experience in time. That's why I love traveling and going to places where things have happened in the past, even like the Roman Colosseums, or going over to Stonehenge and going back in time in your mind. That's the most amazing thing,
That's
huh?
what I loved about being in the Middle East.
mm.
You got to walk the actual path that Jesus possibly walked on, but not just him, but all the early settlers. You see these names carved in stone that verify this really happened. This is where Bethlehem is. Now, granted, right now we figured out it's in the wrong spot because they've actually now found the original fencing of where Bethlehem really was, and it's only like 5 miles down the road. But to be in places, the U.S. is fairly new,
The U.S. is really new compared to history around the world.
but we're also finding out based on a lot of the droughts that there were things going on long before we came here.
Yeah, the recorded history is new, but we're the same as everyone else. Like you said, who tells the story? Who survives to tell the story is the story. But compared to everyone else around the world, and when you travel, it's like our history started like in the 1700s, and they're going back to BC. I was watching this special, this on YouTube, and it was showing how they do nowadays the AI recreation of cities, and they
Hmm.
show you how the city started, way back when, and evolved over time within 30 minutes show. Excuse me. And I was watching this recreation, this AI recreation of Paris and the founding of Paris. And I didn't know that it was like an island. And even though I've been to Paris, I didn't recognize it, the fact that it's like a piece of land surrounded by water, the Seine River, and then you have the bridges that cross to the major land on both sides. And I never knew that, even over in Paris.
How they keep things pretty well hidden and covered. It's
I
like
didn't, I
going
never
over to
knew.
Asia.
I never knew. And so I'm looking at this thing, and it's showing prehistoric kind of Paris, and how it evolved as that land mass between these two rivers, between this river that surrounds it, and how that evolved to the city Paris. And then when the Romans took over, they had the Latin Quarter on one side of the landmass. And I mean, I'm like, wow, that's interesting. We don't even know history anymore.
No, we're discovering new things, and that's what I love. And it's so cool because the more we try to disprove something, like for instance, the stories of the Bible, the more evidence is coming out that's showing that it really happened. It may not have happened exactly the way it said in the Bible, but the actual event happened.
That's why travel is political, because it opens you up to other cultures, other people, other foods, cuisine, the different places that we read about, and to actually go and to be in that like the Taj Mahal, to go and to be there. I mean, you've read about it, especially if you love history. And the kids today, I'm not sure if they even learn history. Is history taught in school anymore?
Um, in some, my kids is it's broken down differently than we did it,
Is it
but
broken down or watered down?
it's broken down by like right now they're learning the US history. So it's broken down instead of by the colonies and when colonies became, it's broken down by regions. So like right now they're studying the Northwest.
Oh, okay.
And so they're learning by areas. And like they learned about the Northeast and about like Newfoundland and the Vikings that actually did make it over to the North America.
Eric's and
That
those guys?
yeah, and how they've actually found Vikings coins and parts of Viking ships over in like the Newfoundland and areas like that.
Oh yeah, they've made it south on the eastern coast too.
They showed how it's possible because like you have the rune stone here in Minnesota, and it's a highly contested rock that a farmer found, and he admits he was scraping it a little bit to get the dirt out of the engravings back in the 1800s. and it's written. It's in like 5 different languages, and only a couple have been deciphered.
Man, there are people that have never made it out of their community.
No, my
That's one
grandma
of
was
the
one of
things that,
those.
huh?
My grandma was one of those.
That's why the military is a great option even today
Oh yeah.
to get you out of your community and see that there's a bigger world than just your community.
And you get to understand and learn cultures at a different level. You know,
Yeah.
the Muslim people, for instance, and people, attack them because you have a group of individuals that take the Bible to their version of the Bible to a whole different level. Not all Muslims are bad. The religion's not bad. And we like quote, well, it talks about war. Well, guess what? So does our Bible. Have you read the same book I have? Because our Bible's a giant bunch of wars and a bunch of tragedies with a little feel good pieces in the middle. It's
And
not that
so
much different.
I was reading this one thing and it was just talking about how, in fact, Maya Angelou said one of the worst things you can do is die with a story still in you.
Yes.
You have a story. Everybody has a story in them that nobody knows.
I
But was someone saying something
just coughed.
that people need to know, and it was just saying how to tell your story because someone's going to hear it that can relate to it, and it'll let them know that they're not alone. But if you can tell your story with your own truth, and there's somebody that needs to hear that story because it'll let them know that they're not alone. And a lot of times we'll hold those stories, those personal stories, and see, and that's what your grandmother used to tell, and that's what they tell around the fireplace. Here's what happened, the oral history. But that is being lost. I wonder why that's being lost. Because people still have a story, they just hold it in. They don't share it. They hold it in. It's almost like I think they're kind of embarrassed by it when it's actually a story of life and as a shared experience in life that you made it through as kind of like a testimony. Now tell, like, even me just sharing how difficult it was to leave the house, go into the community. Oh my God, what is whole nother world? Whole nother world. It's like, oh my gosh, do they even? Who are they? Where are they? What are they? Why are they? But to say, okay, let's go. I left the corporate world. Let's go into the community and discover a brand new world. And I found that that's where I belong. That's where I belong in that nonprofit world, in that community, in that world of service over profit. A lot of people feel uncomfortable being in the world of profit. They feel out of place. And it's because maybe you're to be in a world of service, but you got to make money. So you need a tool. Now, I just mentioned travel, but there are many business tools, and you want to vet those tools. Make sure that that's the tool for you, your passion, that it really does pay. Right. I was talking to a guy about the vortex, and he connects to a lot of organizations like you do, Ron. And I showed him the vortex, the Search 365 vortex, the booking engine, where you book and move aside Expedia. It's connected to the same vendors, except the profit that makes Expedia billions you have access to. So I'm showing him this, And we go to Orlando for spring break. And I'm showing the hotels in Orlando. And the first one that comes up is the Marriott. And 400, over 400 some odd hotels. It's a booking engine. And this hotel saves, it shows the public price, the Expedia, Priceline, Booking.com price for this 7-day stay over spring break, actually the 15th through the 21st. And then it shows that price like 1900. And the price through the Vortex saved $563 over the public price. And I said, look at the savings. The Vortex pays 100% of whatever is saved. I said, so the owner of the Vortex is making that 536 instead of it going away to Expedia, Travelocity, Orbitz, cheap tickets. It's now come. It's a tool that harnesses and redirects wealth of an industry. And he's like, really? I said, yeah. He said, Rick, that's powerful. And I said, you don't even understand what you just said. Even more than that, you will not find a similar tool by regular people, owned by regular people, managed by regular people anywhere in the world. No one gives you access to money, to profit. You won't find the Vortex anywhere in the world. I see that's why people are skeptical. They're like, I don't have permission to do this. I don't have permission to make money. And you're right, because you are the one who gives permission. Like I'm a permission giver. If anybody's listening to me, I give you permission to book through the Vortex and to own the Vortex link and to earn the profit that you have been giving away to others to now come back to sustain your family, to sustain your church, your ministry, your cause. I give you permission. I give you permission to have access to billions of dollars in digital travel booking through the Surge 365 Vortex. I pass on permission to just look and see, taste and see that it is good. And so I'm talking to this guy, and he's like, "Are you kidding me?" I said, "No, no, no, no. There is no upper limit. It's just market share. If an organization that has a vision, because it's tied to the vision, if an organization has a vision to do something, to build something, to go into the community, to outreach program, missionary program, how much do you need? Okay, I need 50,000. I need 100,000. Okay, easy, easy peasy. Organize the people, share the vision, share the cause, encourage them to make a consumer choice to just look and see through the Vortex that we own, that we pass out complimentary to the world. Just look and see that hotel stay you were going to stay anyway and compare price. If it makes sense, book through the Vortex. It's the same hotel. You're saving money, but 100% of what you save comes to our cause, comes to fulfill the vision that you emotionally agree with to make a conscious consumer decision. And he was like, wow. He said, what are the barriers to this? And I said, the barriers to this would be the ignorance that you don't require anyone's permission to use a tool that taps into resources to sustain you as an individual, to sustain you as an organization, or even as a business, turning business expenses into revenue. You require no one's permission. And when you wait for permission, no one has the permission to give you permission. So you end up waiting. isn't that, oh yeah, yeah, you end up waiting because you're looking and seeking permission from no one who has the authority to give you permission. And if you're waiting permission, the answer is no. If you step out, the answer is yes. If you wait for anyone's permission to do anything, the answer is no, or wait, or maybe, and then it's no. Isn't that, hey, those are the lessons that I learned stepping out from corporate America into the community to serve, realizing that if I can have the courage or the faith, as you mentioned, Mary, to step into a direction, just like in Raiders of the Lost Ark, the step appears with each step. Back to you.
One of my mentors made has a little tagline or a little mantra that I recite to my day to this day, and it's fear hates movement. And
We got to write
so
that down.
I always in my head when I go to speak or talk to people about what I do and different things when I especially when I know I'm going to end up in the fire, I recite the our ethos and reminding myself in my head, I'll never quit. Never always put the mission first. Oh, never leave a soldier behind. And I keep repeating that over and over again because that is like my pump up power to help with that fear. Because even a little step is better than no step. And that very first step you take is always the scariest.
Why does fear hate movement?
Because fear is designed to stop you. It's a psychological thing in your and fear of the unknown. It's fear of what will happen. And so our brains are designed to keep us safe. So we like comfort, we like predictability. And so when you step out of predictability, step out of comfort, it's unknown. And what's unknown is uncomfortable. Think of back when you were a kid going to boot camp, getting that was the scariest part of your life. Then you were completely in a whole new surrounding, whole new thing, and the whole world that you knew it is different. Which is part of the reason why when you enlist in the military, a recruiter puts you on that airplane or on that bus. So that making sure you go because of that new step in life is scary. Anything unpredictable. It's the same thing with special needs and with kids and food sensory issues or getting kids to try something new for the first time. It's something different. It's a self-preservation that our bodies have created for us to survive and we forget that our brain, the only purpose it serves is to keep us alive. That's it.
Wow.
And so every signal we get is designed to tell us something, and it's designed to keep us alive. And then there's a few of us that are adrenaline junkies that do things just because they like that nervous feeling. But
You know, so every time I get that nervous feeling, I realize, like you're saying, fear hates movement. But what I need is on the other side of fear. And the evidence of that, without being able to see it, is how I feel, prior to it. If I have that feeling, I know that, okay, as a way of operating nowadays, if I have that fear, that feeling, because I don't know, then do it afraid. And then find out, like you always have, that you're going to survive and that you will accomplish what you were looking for on the other side of that fear, because that's where it is. And if you don't do it, you're never going to find that. And so, in making some decisions through, throughout my life, whenever I come to that place, it has become the way I operate. And we put that, see, you put that in your kids. it has become a way my kids operate. It becomes a way that we operate as a family, that we override fear. And even if it's there, we do it anyway, because what we need is on the other side of that fear. And false, like we said, false fear is false evidence appearing real. It's not even real. And you just gave me something today. Fear hates movement. Why? Because it's false evidence appearing real. It's not even
Hmm.
real. It's a figment of our imagination. And when we challenge it, it moves. It dissipates. It moves to the side. And as we are closing, you talked about the military ethos, the warrior ethos. It's a mindset of selfless service, discipline, and an unwavering dedication to mission success and team cohesion. It's defined by four key elements, key tenets. I will
Hmm.
always place the mission first. I will never accept defeat. I will never quit. And I will never leave a fallen comrade. That's what we do.
And that's, and that's funny because I remember a couple years ago, you made the comment that I couldn't save the world. And that brought me into the whole new level that I'm at now is teaching. Because yes, by myself I can't save the world, but if I teach people to do what I do, then teach people to do what I do. They do, and what I do, that's the way to change the world and save the world.
You hold the key. Like your
There's
life experience.
always a loophole in the system. There's always a
Well, you
way
hold the
to.
key. Like what you have taught and learned in your company, about neurodiversity and life experience. People don't realize the significance, the universal significance of the lessons that they learn and someone waiting on the other side of their obedience to tell it that will unlock something in this other person because they have been entrusted with an experience to go through and survive an experience to turn up on the other side of it now with a testimony that others need to hear that have the questions, and they have the answers. And that's how you have done with your kids. And we started the show with the success of your kids. And
You know,
mhm.
you made me think of something as you're talking about this. As a veteran, as a soldier, we're taught to always be prepared, always look the part, always dress right dress. And that was the hardest thing for me to learn is that it's okay to not always have the answer. It's okay to tell, the population that figure it out. You don't have to have the weight of your shoulders on you all the time. It's okay to just not have it together.
Peace. Otherwise, you're stressed continually. But you know
Hmm.
what, though? We have to learn that as soldiers, though. Because failure is not an option. It's
It's
life or
not,
death.
but taking, and people have, civilians have made that comment, well, that's part of the reason why, we have a hard time grasping things and why we get overstressed and end up with PTSD and, all this stuff. And I go, no, because we learn failure's not an option, but look at the next line. I will never quit. We learn to find loopholes. We learn to find the alternative. There is always never just a plan A. I have already planned out, like with
It's
my
true.
husband,
It's
when
true.
things hit the fan, like for instance, the kids broke the bathtub. So we have a hole in our bathtub. So what did I do? He looks at me and we have the tub ordered, but what do we do in the meantime? My kids can't go without baths. There's always a plan B. There's
There's
duct
always
tape.
a plan
Duct
B.
tape.
There's always
There's
a
duct tape. There's
There's
always
duct
another
tape.
plan.
Duct tape for everything. So in closing here, the soldiers' creed, the warrior ethos, It's action oriented, and it involves leading from the front, taking risks, acting decisively, and staying cool under pressure.
Make it till you make it.
That's what we do.
But it's
and
also okay to lose it at the same time. It's just
huh?
figuring out it's okay to
Yeah,
take that breath and just yell or do what you need to do to lose it for that minute.
yeah.
And in that process of you losing it for that second, you've already some other thoughts come to your head and you've already figured out a loophole and a plan B.
It's true. Take a nap, wake up, and keep going. When it gets overwhelming, take a nap,
Hmm.
wake up, and I'm sure another plan B, A, B, C, D, E, F, G will come to mind, but never ever quit.
It's not an option.
Quitting, failure is not an option because it's not even on the table,
No,
except in your mind.
it is.
And whatever you give your attention to, you give life to. Solution oriented versus problem orientation. Always think about the solution, and more solutions will come. When you think about the problem, more problems come. Think about the solution. I think we are at 1 o'clock. Ron, Ron, Ron. It's been so awesome.
Hey, it certainly is. Today I get the privilege of listening to you guys discuss so many different aspects that we've come to. I don't ever want to say take it for granted, but we have explored how through this communication, this platform, and our getting together, being brought together for the work of the Lord, we're working in His kingdom. We are impacting the lives and improving the lives and making this a better world. I'm so proud to be a part of that.
Man, Ron, you are so awesome. You and Linda, and you make us proud to be part of it. So
Hmm.
thank you. You guys are just amazing, amazing folks. Alrighty, like Lynn would say, bye for now.
And next week is your last day before your trip to Mexico.
Cancun,
Cancun. We're on
Cancun
the
dancing in the
we're on the
moonlight.
East Coast. We're on the East Coast and away from where all the activity has been going on right now. That's not safe, and so
Yeah,
we are protected, and we're also staying in an all-inclusive resort, and it
right.
makes what we're doing so much safer and better.
Yeah.
So I'm just looking forward to our doing
We're
going.
not in the community. We're in the make believe world
Yes.
where they're asking, "Hey, what's the stiffness of the pillow, and what do you want in your?" This is the make believe world, not in the community.
Yeah, yeah.
Well, which restaurant do you want to eat dinner in tonight?
Yeah, which restaurant? Which one? What do you feel like? Let's
Do
see.
you want breakfast in the lounge or do you want it brought to your room?
I know, I know. Hey, that's where you're right. You order into the room service, 3 o'clock in the morning. I want this, I want this, I want this, I want this.
You're gonna have a full dinner delivered and bartender service. It's all provided.
Oh my
So it's
gosh.
inclusive.
Please.
So it's like
Oh.
my house on a regular basis.
Yeah, it's Ron's house too.
Talk to you
Brenda's
guys
not here. She stay at
later.
her house too. Rick's house too. All right, we'll see ya.
Bye now.
Bye.